but they didn't know the lazy.
Hello, and welcome to CVXX. It is 1994, the year of our Lord.
Hello, Robert.
1994.
Reminder for the audience, what age are you in 1994?
I was 17 years old in 1994,
16 for me.
and it was an amazing time.
A rich, culturally rich.
It was
Loads of stoners.
culturally rich. We'll see how culturally rich it is.
See, before we start, can we just have a wee shout out for the fan art that we've got for the fans out there? We had a lot of good stuff for a guy who claims not to be the real David Gray. But
That's in the singer.
Aye, I'm pretty sure. Actually, is.
Please forgive me
That's him.
if I act a little strange.
That's him. Apart from the voice.
I don't want that.
Please
I don't like David Gray, by the way. It wasn't me being critical. I love it.
Also, please like and subscribe to our content. Mind beg.
Like and subscribe, please, for patrons. This is a great time to jump on, actually, because we're going to be switching to a subscription mode on our Patreon.
Because we've been forced to.
We've been forced to by Apple, and so we're going to move to Guft. We're trying to fight it, but I think Guft and Apple have a relationship. Guft is above.
I mean, we can't.
Well, I don't know. Anyway,
Can't talk about that.
here's the thing. It's a great time to get involved. There's going to be extra content and all that.
We're going to stick some more.
There will be, though.
We're stacking some more Patreon content up because we've not really been doing that since we've been doing stuff, and I think that might be stupid. So we're going to give you Patreon only content. So you need to subscribe to see that.
There's also Guft have promised us an upgrade to the studio as well, because the show's been going so well. I think Guft expected that the viewership would just progressively decline down to the number zero.
With our health, we would go with the viewership, but it doesn't seem to be occurring. We actually have now broken 1,000 TikTok followers, whatever TikTok is.
So Guft are really pleased with that. 1,000 TikTok followers. Only 800 of them are Chinese bots as well, so that's good going. And so we'll be doing some TikTok dances in the months ahead as well, just to keep in with the thing.
Sure thing.
But it's 1994, so let's talk about the wonderful things in it, and let's not mess about. Let's go. I want to talk about games, because games are hotting up in 1994. So let's run some game stuff right away.
Okay,
and I'm going to have a very excited voice in this one. I'm not going to sound like I'm bored. Time now to talk about one of the greatest games ever made, and I don't think anybody's going to fucking argue about this. NBA Jam is something I adore. I even have the arcade arcade cabinet. I don't have it right now, which is breaking my heart because it's in storage. I just moved house, but I will get it out of storage shortly once I've paid my storage bill, fuck's sake. Okay, NBA Jam Tournament Edition on the Super NES, though, is going to give you all that NBA Jam action that you want on your couch, with your controllers, with your Super NES controllers. Look how depressed I look there. I promise I'm not depressed. I'm never depressed when I put NBA Jam on. Right, so for anybody that doesn't know, NBA Jam is a game where you take control of a basketball team, but the genius of NBA Jam is you only take control of 2 players on that team. It's 2 versus 2, which makes for some fast, high-flying, ridiculous action. And because NBA Jam is one of the greatest arcade games ever conceived of by anybody, it translates perfectly to the home experience, to sitting on the couch with your mates and playing some NBA Jam, having a couple of drinks, having maybe some zero alcohol beer, as a lot of my friends seem to be drinking zero alcohol beer now. No me, yeah, I'm still fucking up my brain with alcohol on occasion. But I have to say, first of all, that the lack of in-game music is one of the problems that NBA Jam on the Super Nintendo has. This is Tournament Edition, right? So this is an upgrade for the previous edition. So it has smoother animation, more dunks, more moves, more bells and whistles have been added to it, and it is actually a better. It plays far better than the previous one. So this is the one to play on the Super Nintendo if you're going to play it on the Super Nintendo at all. And because it is an arcade game at heart, you really want to be playing it with other people. You can play this single player, as I'm doing just now, but NBA Jam has a wee bit of bullshit going on under the hood, a wee bit of elastic band stuff where The computer will always kind of catch up and will start slamming in 3-pointers and stuff like that. There's something fishy going on under the hood, but you don't mind because, it's still just fun to go end to end in this game, no matter what the score is. And what I think makes NBA Jam timeless is its accessibility. And I've seen this multiple times throughout my life where I've been sitting beside somebody that's never played NBA Jam before, and you can explain how to play this game in about 10 seconds. You can stick them on the team with you and play together. You're passing to them, you're letting them dunk, you're making space for them, you're asking them to pass to you. It all comes together. Kids can get on board really easily. It's just a masterpiece of video game design. An absolute slam dunk. And by the way, if you want to find out more about NBA Jam, read this book. It's cracking.
Can I shout names of games that are out in 1994? We might end up...
Are you sure you didn't shout them out in part one, though?
No, this is a new list. I just put this in last night.
Okay, fair enough.
By me, I mean obviously Guffy. I put it in.
Right.
Earthbound.
Earthbound.
Look at the PC stuff that's happening.
Right, there's no point just listing them. Earthbound, Super Nintendo. I like to call it the RPG that everybody pretends that they loved back in the day, but actually the truth is nobody played it back in the day.
The SNES.
Yeah, Earthbound. Nobody played.
Oh, Earthbound. No chance. I had no idea.
Nobody played it. Right.
No.
Next.
What games?
What else? Games.
I was going to talk about the PC because look at the PC games that are coming out now. You've got
We need to talk
System
about
Shock.
PC.
System Shock.
System Shock 1.
XCOM. What else is Warcraft? Is it? That's the beginnings of a slippery slope for a lot of fat guys. And lassies and fat lassies.
Fat lassies as well. This is not a show that forgets fat lassies. I'll tell you that. Warcraft. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Warcraft.
I think it was Warcraft 2 I played maybe on PlayStation. Fucking loved it.
Yeah, maybe. And then of course World of Warcraft came out and that was a problem, right?
Probably talk about that when that comes out.
That was a problem.
We played that together for a while.
We did.
For about a week and a half. That's all it took.
I've completed it. In a week and a half. Completed World of Warcraft in a week and a half. And all the expansions.
Enjoyed it. I got sick of it.
Were you Horde or were you Alliance?
We can't talk about it, it's not it.
Alright, sorry. You don't say Horde nowadays, you say sex worker.
Yeah. Clip that.
What have you got? What else? What other stuff?
What other games?
Yeah, what other games came out?
Games. Theme Park. Fuck me, Theme Park.
Theme Park was 1994?
1994. I know, it's starting to happen, and you're going like, that was...
I thought that was earlier.
No. Well, Guffy I is telling me.
Okay.
Something else that's terrible for the world that happened in 1994. Jeff Bezos founded Amazon in his
garage.
In his garage in 1994.
Found it in his garage and then he went to space in a rocket ship.
And got buff.
Sent Katy Perry to space.
He's married a woman that's about 47% plastic.
That's a bit sexist, is it no? Or plasticist, I'm not sure.
How come?
Do you think when he set up that company in that garage back in the day that he thought that one day he would give William Shatner an existential crisis by taking him to space?
It might have been his ambition.
That would be the end result. Well, I mean, would you go to space? See if Bezos got in touch and he says, "Use our baldy and all." That's his opening gambit. He says, "Use
a crew of baldy so that he feels normal."
All baldy, so it would be us two.
A load of Picards, a whole ship of Picards.
Patrick Picard, Shatner, Stewart.
Make it so.
Right, he would come. What other baldies would come? Gail Porter. And
Gandhi,
Yul Brynner.
The Coneheads cast, Dan Aykroyd. There's a Coneheads.
The cast of Coneheads, and that wee thing out of Todd Browning's Freaks as well would be.
Could have just kept the Coneheads.
Would be on the ship, and we'd all go up. That would be good. And he said, "Do you want to go? Would you go, Ryan? Would you go to space?"
I mean, that's my crew. I don't want to let my crew down.
Would you go? Who would be your number one on that? Who would you choose as your number one? Would it be the Pinhead for the Freaks movie, Gail Porter? Or...
We've got uniforms on. I take it, matching uniforms on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean, it need to be Gail.
I wouldn't go.
How come?
I just don't need to go to space.
Right.
I don't need to go to space. I think I would be much like William Shatner. I think I would get up there and I would look into the abyss and it would be traumatising for me.
Well, okay.
That's no the abyss up there. I don't know. I think it might be. Welcome to CVXX, guys.
Hello, like and subscribe, please. We should probably do some content.
Let's do some content. What do you want to talk about?
Soonish. I'm just scanning past Nelson Mandela's name again there. You just can't...
Is he speaking of Gil Porter, by the way? Was Gil Porter, lovely Gil Porter, by the way, was she around in what was she doing in 1994? Because is that before her time slightly?
Maybe slightly.
Let's see,
Are you
Gil
checking?
Porter. I'm going to check. Gil Porter, 1994. So she was 23.
Let's have a look at that fan art that we were sent again. He also sent us a load of magazines as well for free, which I don't currently have on me because of my terrible personal circumstances that we won't go into.
Yeah, Ryan's got some terrible personal circumstances happening just now. We won't go into details, but it does involve a lot of secret surveillance cameras.
A lot of police contact and surveillance cameras.
Surveillance contact.
Quite a tonal change for working in a children's respite service just a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. This is like, it's proper.
This is life.
I think Mad Max, was he like the character, was he like a teacher or something?
Police.
Or he was a police. He was a police, wasn't he? And then he became like a road warrior. That's kind of what's happening to
fucking animal.
That's what's happening to Ryan. Right. Okay, let's do some content. Where do you want to start, Ryan, with this 1994?
To be honest, I would like to start with a thing that we knew nothing about just to get it out of the way.
You're talking about the Ink Thief.
I'm talking about the Ink Thief.
Welcome to the real world. Is this what you wanted? Is this how you thought it would be?
Stuff that I've been through, world. Is this what you dreamed of?
You thought it would be so easy.
The Ink Thief was a CITV kids show.
Yeah.
From 1994 that I certainly never watched. I mean, I probably wasn't.
Aye, by this point we're out of the CITV.
Yeah, I'm not watching
you know this?
CITV. Who was president? Yeah, I wasn't watching CITV.
Did you find any Gil Porter information?
I didn't find any, but I think it's it must be Runabout or period. Let's see. I want to see who was
Really?
presenting.
You can find that out by just looking at the internet?
I wonder who was the ITV presenter in 1994. Was it? I mean, all this stuff is merging in my mind now.
Big memory.
It was in a transitional phase, apparently. Here's key shows on CITV in 1994, if you want to hear this. The Ink Thief was one of them. Finders Keepers with Neil Buchanan.
I know that.
Remember that? Fun House was still kicking a ball.
Good.
How to. You wouldn't make that show nowadays. No. Gareth Jones, Fred Dinage, and the wonderful Violet Berlin. Bad Influence was also presented by Violet Berlin and Andy Glisson, by the way. I mean, there was stuff for the dads there, wasn't there? Animal Crazy was hosted by Neil Buchanan and Jenny Powell.
Oh my God, Jenny Powell.
So there you go. And
so nothing about Gil Porter yet. She's not on the Houses of Parliament
fuck's
yet.
sake, what is this? It's not the fucking Gil Porter show.
You brought her up.
Hold on.
And I picked her as my number one on my space cruise. All the Picard space cruise.
Gil Porter.
Probably have Bezos' name
I
somewhere.
don't know. Hold on, let me go to.
Oh my God, we're meant to be talking about that.
You talk about that while I do this research.
I don't really want to talk about it.
No, it was.
It's got a weird wee intro at the start. Richard O'Brien's in it. Richard O'Brien is he's the main selling point of this show. He's the top biller. There are seemingly later in the series guest appearances from stars such as Toya Wilcox, such as Christopher Biggins, some heavy hitters.
Listen,
I'm glad we didn't see the
Christopher Biggins. 3 years later, it was about 3 or 4 years later, Gil Porter, to be fair. To be fair, what does that fucking mean? Christopher Biggins?
Yeah, apparently so. We only watched the first episode of The Ink Thief. What did you think? The Ink Thief is a guy, what is he, like some kind of supernatural guy from another dimension, and he devours books, so he does devour the ink, but what he's actually devouring is like the creativity and the ideas within the works themselves.
How do you know that? That wasn't in that first episode.
No, I've looked it up.
Fuck's sake.
Because this series is based on a novel, so there is
No, that's not true. I would like to...
What?
Guft, could you note down that Ryan made a mistake there, please?
Oh, don't bring down the tube.
The novel was after the TV show.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. Or concurrent with it. It was the director, I think, who came up with the idea. Then this guy, and then the guy who plays the cat, Toddy or whatever his name was, he wrote the show.
Right. I was wondering why he was there.
This is fucking rotten.
Oh, listen. Oh.
I think
the title music, boffin, fucking boffin, and the
Did you
whole
think title music? I think the title music was the best thing about it.
I mean, it was.
Welcome to the real world.
What was it? Was that? What's that got to do with the ink thief? It's some the whole setup show, the way it's filmed, the music, and it all kind of seesaws between American and British. Kind of, there's some kind of
Right, hold on.
It's no, but it's rubbish.
Have you even gave the viewers any context about
Nah.
what this is? Right, okay. So Richard O'Brien plays the ink thief, right? And as Ryan said, he lives in this wee fucking pocket universe or something, right? But it's about this wee lassie in a...
Does he send out like the animated characters?
No, I think,
Somewhat.
I think they're the Oobs or something. I think they're different. I think
That's
they're the
right,
Oobs from Oobs. So this wee lassie and her brother, both are who are still kicking a ball, by the way. I
I say
checked.
fuck.
Went on their
Shite, I was
Instagrams and all
hoping
that.
he was dead.
What, the wee boy?
that
No,
wee
they're
guy.
still kicking a ball. And I checked on their Instagram, they're doing great, kids and all that. And I think
That's
on
annoying.
holidays on the beach and all that. And
That's annoying.
I mean, I've just been, I mean, they're adults now. I wasn't even looking through kids' Instagrams, so they're adults now. And so they moved to this new place called Leaf.
2026 is the year of disclosure, just to remind everybody.
They go on what I would like to call an Amiga plane to get to Leaf, didn't they? A plane off the Amiga. And the set for the interior of this aeroplane is one of the most fucking insane things I've ever seen in my life.
I have written down that I liked the homemade set of it. I liked, I don't know.
You liked
but that was early
you liked
on.
that the airplane seat was just like a chair in the kitchen,
chairs.
like a kitchen chair.
Kitchen chairs, and the wee signs were obviously like handmade. I don't know.
But there was
there's
nothing
something-
else in the show that was like that.
I know.
Only that.
I know.
It was almost if they get notes late in the day. Well, you're going to have to show them, Roger. You have to show them flying to Leaf.
Roger.
We can't get on an airplane now, Roger. And then I think that was the problem.
They had shots in an airport. They did manage that at like 5 in the morning or something, where the airport was, which was surprisingly well directed. The shots.
This strange place they moved to called Leaf just looks like fucking Sussex or something. I've never been to Sussex, but I just imagine.
Nah,
it
you're
looks
right.
Like, just
You're
looks
right.
like an English
Like
town.
Kent. It looks a wee bit like Kent. Wee Kent country roads.
The wee boy's a bit of a fucking brain box, a bit of a smarty pants. As his sister says to him, "Good night, computer head." She says to him, because he's obviously into all the computers now.
You left out the Phantom of the toy shop. Where's the claws? Very funny. Good night, computer head. Good night, airhead.
There's cartoons turning into people in this as well, This is like, so a cartoon will come through your door and then it'll get to the stairs. There's a sequence in this where a cartoon comes through the door and then it
Is that in
turns...
the empty house?
Yeah, it turns into...
Filming a whole scene in an empty house.
Aye, they're in an empty house.
Derelict house. Cheap as chips.
So the cartoon comes in and goes on the stairs and then turns into a wee boy, and then the wee boy starts to kind of jump up the stairs and banging his feet on the stairs to make noises. I fucking no idea what's going on. It doesn't
It's
come
like
back.
just
It's no-
it turns into like kind of like performance art or something.
Yeah, there's some... basically, all your Amdram kids of the fucking day are in there. A red thing appears that looks a bit racist, to be honest, at the start. It looks almost like a...
aye, definitely.
Yeah,
I was
it look-
really worried about that.
It looks like kind of racist imagery for an old like fucking Merry Melodies cartoon or something. But then it turns into a real guy who's just like a guy in a costume that looks nothing like the cat. It's fucking demented. He sings about how he likes creeping about your house and he likes creeping and pooping. I mean peeping, he says. So
It's
but
good
then he
stuff.
never appears again either, does he?
No. Aye, it's good. It's really good. I've 13 minutes into this fucking... It's only 26 minutes. We're halfway into the episode. Still no Richard O'Brien. The only reason I suggested this is because he's in it. He's not... Well, he was in it at the very beginning. That wee tiny wee intro. But we're having to watch these fucking Waynes walk about in really basic TV shots. And it's so cheap. It's so cheap because they've obviously blown a lot of money in having Richard O'Brien and getting these animated bits in the show.
Yeah.
So a lot of the budget's
13
went
minutes in, you say, to your peers?
No, I've just written down 13. Oh, well, my next note is try performing this a different way, Richard. Because so he's obviously shown up after 13 minutes, but I've went, why are you acting like this?
Richard O'Brien is rotten in this.
Aye.
He's rotten in
He's
this.
phoned it in, is what he's done. He's phoned it in.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on
And
here.
he's like, he's whispering, but people are whispering bits and stuff like that. So you're having to, it's almost like it hasn't been properly rehearsed or something. But he's rubbish as well. Like,
Kitty blah. Such massive power from children. I wonder. Bucket toddy. Not to worry. I feel sure there's more where this came from.
we have to wait ages for him to show up, and then he's rubbish as well.
So the deal is this fucking cat breaks into their house and steals all the books.
Who is the most annoying, probably? Is he the most? Is he more annoying
that
than the wee
cat?
guy? The wee guy's probably the most annoying, isn't he? Because he's also been like a wee sulky.
I think the wee guy's alright. I don't
He
think
can learn
I'm
these
the wee guy.
lines, to be fair to him, but he's playing an annoying wee guy.
But it's just because he's... I mean, as his sister says, she goes to him, "Come on, motor mind," she says to him. He's just a bit of a computer head and a bit of a motor mind, that's all. So the cat steals the books, and then the cat brings the books back to Richard O'Brien and his thingmate, and then they feed the books into a machine. Now, I was expecting when the machine took the books in that ink would come out the other side, but it's no ink. You would think it would be ink because it's called Ink Thief, but it actually looks more like cum, like a book.
Golden cum.
Like a book's cum comes out. So a wee drip of cum come. So I think you put in a book of Shakespeare and a wee drip of cum came out. And then Richard O'Brien drank the cum.
And then he the glue?
And then his head glowed. He gave him a glow, a healthy glow.
Ready break or something.
But see, here's the thing. Early in the episode, the wee lassie saw a fish sitting on a table that a guy with claws grabbed and then let go, right? And so that night she drew a picture of the fish. So when the cat stole the fish, the drawing of the fish and put that into the machine, well, the wee lassie's fish was a gusher. Well, the wee lassie's fish is a gusher, isn't it?
There's loads of cum, loads of golden cum.
Loads of cum.
They spilt most of it.
This is the kind of show... You know, there was a time, I know when I was 17 years old, I would have been looking at this and going, oh, fucking Richard O'Brien, there's fucking... Toya Wilcox appears later in the series, didn't she? I think I'd be like, there's fucking Toya popping up and that. Who are all these fucking Amdram cunts in this? This is fucking torture, I would have said. But now with the wisdom of age, I can look at it and go, fucking Richard O'Brien, fucking Toya Wilcox, all these Amdram cunts in it. It's fucking torture.
Fucking torture.
By the way, Richard O'Brien's still kicking a boss, so that's good news. He's 83 years old. And you know what's weird?
That was that
You
golden
know what's
cum.
weird about Richard O'Brien? He's got luscious long hair now.
What?
He's got all his hair's grown back.
Is that true?
Just because he went right run. It's almost like you get bald, and then he's just lived that long, he's been right run, and his hair's came back. Here's some facts for you. The guy who likes creeping and pooping, right? He comes into your room and he likes creeping and pooping in the wee lassie's room, right? He doesn't know at this point that the lassie's fish is a gusher, right? He is the voice of the Honey Monster.
Right.
For the Honey Monster
Are you making this
cartoons.
up?
No, this is fucking true. This is research.
I wish I'd
Duff,
known
can we
that.
not doing the Ryan Disney Day research?
I did do a tiny wee bit. It's not very staggering though. My research is like, it only ran for one series, but you only need to watch it for about 30 seconds to go, you're not getting any more than one series of this pish.
He's the voice of the Honey Monster. But I'll give you another wee interesting bit of information. There is a Welsh rat in this show, and I'm not talking about Michael fucking Sheen. There's a Welsh rat in this show, and he's a muscular Welsh rat called Sylvester Violent or something.
See that chase fucking scene where the lassie was like running around
Yeah.
and they were all like dance. What? Oh, so bad.
Anyway, the
So
Welsh
bad.
rat guy, Aloysius, Vicious Aloysius. Vicious Aloysius, a Welsh rat. He is the voice of Daddy Pig from Peppa Pig.
No way.
I'm
Really?
fucking telling you the truth.
I never realised there were so many heavy hitters.
So there you go. Which is obviously a great character, right? So there you go. So there was at least a happy ending there. Absolute fucking garbage.
Shite music,
Did
shite
pretty
acting,
well, though,
load of
apparently.
shite. Is what?
Apparently it did pretty well.
Did it?
Yeah. But it's not going to come back. There's nothing, you know.
Oh, I hated it.
Right, let's have a look at some video games, because while shit like that was on TV, there was some very good video games
The best.
in the world.
Shit. Shit. That's good. I love this fact about Final Fantasy 3-6. The final boss theme at this game, Final Fantasy 6, is 17 minutes long. It combines every individual playable character's theme, and it's 17 minutes long. I like it that they go, fine, aye, it's 17 minutes long, fine, okay. Is it really good? Aye, it's dead good. Okay then. Another fact I love about this game is that the World of Ruin section, and basically the second half of the game, nearly didn't exist. It actually only came into being because the production was gone, development was going better than expected. It was actually going quite smoothly. So it freed up time, and these creative busybodies being the way they are, they went, oh, let's make the game doubly amazing then. I suppose it's slightly conceivable that there might be some people out there that don't know the plot of Final Fantasy VI, but I'll go over it loosely for you. So there's an evil empire. It's a steampunk world, and this is 1994, so you haven't heard the word steampunk as often as you have these days. You don't see people cutting about in steampunk gear in 1994, to my memory anyway. So steampunk was quite a newish kind of aesthetic for a lot of us. Evil empire, steampunk world. You're a magic user that the empire wants to get, that her with the green hair wants to get in harness, basically wants to harness the power. You know that kind of evil empire wants the powers of the earth, but it transpires that there's an evil general, Kefka, and you and your band, the Returners, as they're called, have to fight Kefka. And I won't spoil it, but he wins. Oh shit. Actually, that is a spoiler, isn't it? The editors can deal with it. When he wins, all you and your band of heroes, the Returners, all get scattered. This is off spoiler. Scattered across the wasteland, and you all had to reband to take him on again before he blows up the world. Or blows up everything. I can't remember if it was the world or everything he wanted to blow up. It was one of the two. Sorry, that was really spoiler heavy, but I'm sure the editors can take that out. The 1994, I've not played that. I've not played this game until it comes out on the PlayStation 1 many years later, when it is properly branded as Final Fantasy VI. So 1994, for me personally, these technologies are way beyond what I was experiencing. I wouldn't have been able to cope with the amount of sound effects and music in this game. The variation of the characters. The personality of the characters, it's a really warm and funny dialogue in it. Another fact, and I don't know why I know so many facts about this game, but you know, the guy who translated it for Japanese it was only out in Japan, don't know why I said it like that, in 1994, but when it eventually came across, I slowed down because the music slowed down. The translator only had 30 days to translate the entire game. There was loads and loads of words that he had to translate for Japan language to English language. I'm sure the editors can take out the boring. If it's what I'm saying is boring, somebody will take it out, surely to God. So it's the last of the
2D sprite-based graphics for Final Fantasy. What comes next? Nobody is ready for when Final Fantasy VII comes out. It blows everybody out the water. It is Final Fantasy VI, my favourite of the Final Fantasy games that I have played, because I don't want to sound like I'm an expert in Final Fantasy games, because I haven't played one since like 10, so I'm well out the loop on what a Final Fantasy game even is. But I played Final Fantasy VI, as I say, for the first time on PS1 after I had played Final Fantasy VII. So Final Fantasy VII was my introduction to the series, and I went, wow, I wonder what the other ones are like. As a lot of other people did, which is obviously why they rebranded them and resold them on PS1, because they knew people would be interested. And I played this after having played the blockbuster Final Fantasy VII and went, wait a minute, this is better than Final Fantasy VII. Another one of these examples that everything's cracking. Every area of this game is just polished and cracking. And as I say, that story of the making of the game, where they were just doing so well making the game that they went, go, hang on, we've got loads of time, what would they do with all that time? I feel like you have to, an extent, be enjoying what you're doing to have that kind of, well, not necessarily, I suppose it could be a sweatshop. I suppose people could have died. I never checked. It's something I never check when I'm doing my game reviews, to my shame, as I don't check how many people have died in the making of the game. There could have been dozens dead making this game. Don't play it, it's fucking dangerous.
Muscle Bomber, The Body Explosion. Now that is one of the most fantastic game titles you'll ever hear. For some reason, when it came to the West, it was called Saturday Night Slam Masters. I don't know why you would ever want to call something Saturday Night Slam Masters when you could be calling it Muscle Bomber, The Body Explosion. It's the fucking best. I would call everything muscle. If I ever had a son, I would call my son Muscle Bomber, The Body Explosion. That's how much I love this title. Muscle Bomber, The Body Explosion Florence. I'd probably give my middle name as well. Muscle Bomber David, The Body Explosion Florence is what I'd call him. Anyway, this is a wrestling game. I say it's a wrestling game, but it's a beautiful wrestling game 2D fighter hybrid. Feels like you're playing a Street Fighter with the health bars and stuff, but also feels very much like a wrestling game. For me, the aesthetics of this one are off the charts. You might have noticed there, by the way, in the character select, that the bold Hager out of Final Fight is there. Now, in the Japanese version of the game, it says that Hager's wrestling career was before he was the mayor in Final Fight. But when it came to the West, it said that his wrestling career happened after he was the mayor in Final Fight. I kind of feel like it wouldn't work that way. I kind of feel it's more likely he was a wrestler first who became a mayor. You know, there's a lot of wrestlers that go into politics. I'd like to see even more wrestlers in politics going up and getting old Starmer and Trump, the old double noggin knocker. I wouldn't mind that. Should I talk about the game? This is one of the games that I like to stick on, maybe even sometimes on a Saturday night when I'm wanting a wee bit of Slam Master action. I would stick this on for a quick shot, a quick run through, because it's a real crowd pleaser, this game. You know, a real player friendly game. Simple mechanics, bit of striking, bit of grabbing, double tap to run and bounce against the ropes, and everything just comes together beautifully well. I mean, this game is nowhere near as technical as a lot of 2D fighters. I mean, you have finishers and stuff like that, and it's cool. It always kind of feels cool that it feels like you're playing a 2D fighter, but you also have to pin, and you also have to position yourself in a kind of 3D space. So it always has a kind of novelty feeling about it. And it's just a really attractive game as well. It's just a really pleasing game to look at. You know, the pixel art, the 2D sprites. This is really Capcom playing to their strengths. You know, love the art, love the character designs, love the splashy music. And while it's a game that's fun to put on for a quick single player run through, it's obviously one of the games that really comes alive when you play it in 2-player. I think it's important to have games like this in your collection. I think it's important to have these wonderful kind of 2-player extravaganzas where somebody can choose Hager out of Final Fight, the other guy can choose a guy with a monkey on his back, and you just have a real slobber knocker against each other. I think it's important to have games like this. This is not a game you will play for hours and hours and hours. But when you've got a pal round, and it is so important, my friends, in life, to make sure you sometimes have a pal round. When you have a pal round, Muscle Bomber is the kind of game you want to stick on. You want to be able to pull this off your shelf and have a body explosion with you and your best mate. I want you to have a body explosion with your best friend tonight, if you can. And there's worse ways of doing it than with a game like this. Right, Ryan, what are we looking at next, my friend?
Just read it one bit of news. Let me see. Friends and ER have debuted in America. Now the world has Friends and ER. We liked ER for a while, didn't we? I fancied, what's her name with the curly black hair? You probably liked George Clooney, didn't you?
Are you asking me who I fancied in ER?
Speaking of wobbly heads. I'm just saying you watched it.
Yeah, I
You
watched
liked
it.
Aye.
But it was the
Didn't
nurse.
watch
You mean the
Friends?
nurse with the
Didn't-
curly black hair?
Aye.
That's what everybody fancied. There wasn't anybody else to fancy in it, was
No, the way I fancied it was unique though.
there? It was the right, okay.
Right.
He had a wobbly head, didn't he? George
did,
Clooney, he had the
the
fucking
flirty wobbly
please
head.
forgive me if I medically treat your child, because he was a child doctor.
Yeah.
A paediatrician. Hey, he was in the Epstein files, that character.
Did we moan about Definitely Maybe being in the last episode? I can't mind in part
Did we
one.
what?
Moan about Definitely Maybe, because Oasis is Definitely Maybe. It's like the biggest album of the year.
Was it?
Aye.
Definitely maybe the most rotten album of the year.
I bought that album, hated them, hated the music.
Why did you buy it?
It was the biggest album of the year, so I was like, I'm gonna get a chance. It's the only time I've ever done this. I hated it so much, I didn't just throw it in the bin. Sometimes I would throw music away and go, because I'm offended by it. It used to touch a nerve, like if it wasn't something I liked. I mind I threw OK Computer the first time I heard it. I was like, I know. I was like, because I was like, I love the band so
Okay,
much.
computer head.
But I took Definitely Maybe and I stuck it in an oven and it shrank down to a tiny wee size and then I binned it.
That's quite, it's
Still hate Oasis.
quite good for the environment though to do that. It's probably just
Less
taking up
waste,
less.
isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
apart from the fumes.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about next?
Let's go to the movies.
You want to go to the
Let's
movies next?
Did this come out in the movies? Did this come out in the cinema?
Did it
Anywhere?
Right. So
1994.
we didn't
We're-
watch this in 1994.
No. It was
We watched this maybe a couple of years later, a few years later.
on like a X-rental video for
Global
like
Video, X Rental, big box, big plastic box. I had it. Wish I'd fucking held on to all of them.
Fuck.
I don't regret
I
anything.
bin bagged them. I
just don't-
landfilled my VHS collection.
We had big VHS collections, and it's my biggest regret.
They hit a point where they were worth literally
Well,
nothing,
worth zero.
and now they're back.
And now you're paying 56. You pay like 50, 60 quid for this movie on eBay now.
I'm staying just now with a cousin, and
Does he have videos? Does he still have some?
his son is collecting CDs and analog things now, and he's paying like top dollar for
I mean, I
CDs.
still have loads of CDs.
Nah, I get rid of mine, like 50p
I remember
a
you doing
CD.
that, posting them away and all that. To fucking insane. I said to you at the time it was mental.
Just shedding the load, shedding the load.
You fucking, you know, it's.
Anyway, we're talking about X-rental videos because
I'm saying you pay 60 quid for this movie, Crackerjack, on VHS now. It's a 5 quid on eBay. which sums it up. So this is so we went through a period where we would go to video shops and we would try and buy rotten. We would try and buy rotten X-rental
because
films.
this market used to exist. I mean, I'm sure they still make like low budget pish, but it just wasn't the same as the straight to video market.
We would watch movies like Hardball and Gomez.
There were always these films are things that reach a certain level of, because it's hard to make films back in this time. It's still like you need like crews and things. You don't need
you
like
need to make
you
actual
need
films.
budgets and crews and like professionals making it. But what makes bad films like enjoyable is when things start to get a bit wonky or things are out of place, like maybe a star is out of place and things don't quite fit. So you're getting a certain production value and there's a certain expectation that you're viewing, but something's no right. Like
Yeah.
the scenery is shaky. Scenery's very shaky in Crackerjack.
Well, this is Crackerjack starring Thomas Ian Griffith, Nastasia Kinski, daughter of one of the most evil people who ever lived, Christopher Plummer. In that time when Christopher Plummer was in a lot of shite before he kind of came back to being in decent stuff again. And it is about... It's about a cop called Jack who has suffered a tragedy in his life. His family have been killed by the mafia.
Which is the first thing you see in the film.
First thing you see in the film is his wife. He says to his wife, "Get out of the car!" And his wife goes like that. And then the car goes...
I think he maybe smiles a wee bit. And then she dies.
Yeah. So because of that, what's happening is, as his partner says...
I could probably have a nap while you're setting this up.
In the first... As his partner says in the first 5 minutes of the movie, he's suffering
Before
from
he's talking about the PTSD
stress.
and stuff like that, they're in a shootout.
Yeah.
And Jack is wild.
He's
And
reckless.
he's reckless and he's wild, and his partner... Actually, there's periods during the gunfight where they're almost whispering to each other, which doesn't really make much sense because you'd never be able to hear each other, but they were able to hear each other. His partner shouts at one point, "Shut up my ass." I think Jack's told him to shut up, and they said, "Shut up my ass." Then he's in the car after the shoot talking about PTSD and Jack being off the leash basically and telling him to get help basically. And he says the immortal line that we've remembered for decades: "Do you know what they're calling you down in the station?"
You know what they've been calling you for the past few months down at the precinct? Crackerjack. That's what they've been calling you. Crackerjack.
And I have a racist memory, it appears, because I have crossed Thomas Ian Griffith films, and in my memory I remembered that line being said by James Earl Jones. But James Earl Jones isn't in this
He's in a different film.
He's in Excessive Force, which was out in
I thought it was
1980.
Ulterior Motives.
Oh, you might be right.
I think it's Ulterior Motives he's in.
An earlier film, anyway.
We know our shit with Thomas Ian Griffith, by the way.
But Jack's partner says to him, "Do you know what they're calling you down in the station?" Crackerjack. That's how bad things have got, Jack. They're calling you Crackerjack.
No, obviously Crackerjack means a different thing in our kind of, it was like a kids show called Crackerjack and stuff like that. But for many years I've kind of thought to myself, why would you ever write in a serious scene that you need to get things together because they're calling you Crackerjack? I can't. But then I've got a theory with this film, and my theory is that the writer, Michael Mazzo, his name is, or that's the director, Michael Mazzo, maybe he wrote it, I don't know, who fucking cares. My theory is that he maybe wrote a lot of the script, but then I think he maybe left it open on his kitchen table, and maybe his 8-year-old daughter maybe wrote a lot of the rest of it. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of lines in here in this film that couldn't have been written by an adult, I don't think. Anyway.
Set up.
Jack goes home to his flat and he's really depressed and all, and he's got to get himself together because they're calling him Crackerjack.
He's drinking constantly.
He's drinking a lot, right?
JD as well. I
mean, the hard stuff, right?
Aye.
So he gets to his flat and he opens the door and they go, "Surprise!" A surprise party, but he's pulled out his gun because he thought somebody was waiting for him. He's all triggered and he acts like a big fucking baby, Ryan.
I have written down Crackerjack out with his family like a sulky 14-year-old.
Yeah,
That's what he's like for the next half an hour.
He acts like a big fucking baby. He punches his brother in the face.
Mine's that Harry Enfield character, which is pretty sure that's out in 1994.
Yeah, it might be.
Kevin, is it? The sulky
Kevin the
teenager?
teenager.
That's Crackerjack. That's what Crackerjack.
He behaves like that. He punches his brother for the crime of throwing him a surprise party.
Son of a bitch.
And then the brother's wife comes in and confronts Crackerjack, and she's like, "You need to get it together. We love you and all that." And then she says, "We're going to take you on holiday." This is he's a fucking. It's like when Rodney joined the Groovy Gang. And Only Fools and Horses is the way that this is your fucking hero of your movie, by the way. This guy,
He's like 6.5 feet tall, Thomas Ian Griffith.
yeah, and his sister-in-law is saying, "We're going to take you on holiday."
To calm down, because your family's dead.
And then the chief phones him. He says, "You need to take a break." And then the chief of the police, and he's like, "Fuck off, I'm not taking a break. I'm not wanting to go on holiday to a ski resort. I've got crimes to fight." And then the chief of the police phones him and he says, "You need to have a break." He says, your partner says you're going bananas. Your partner says you're going bananas. The fucking chief of police says. Tell you what, they go to this.
I've never done cocaine, but I think you're
It doesn't make you speak like a baby, does it?
I don't know. I'm just...
I'm telling you, he's Wayne must have wrote it. They end up
So
on
it
this
goes
cable car. Sorry, they're on this cable. I just want to say before you go on the cable car on the way to this ski resort place, Thomas Ian Griffith is bending over looking out of the cable car. I have to say he's got a fucking nice wee keister on him.
Oh, aye. I mean, he's taking care of himself.
He's got nice
for
cans
sure.
on him. Thomas Ian Griffith, nice buns. Can I tell you a wee bit of information about Thomas Ian Griffith?
Please do.
One of the things we used to argue about back in the day. This
Who would win a fight?
This is like, that's one of these things we used to argue about back in the day, right? But you used to care back in the day whether your actor in your movies was a genuine martial artist or no. That was an important element. We talk about, is he a real black belt? But I bet is Jean-Claude Van Damme a real? And he is a real martial artist. He is a real martial artist, Thomas Ian Griffith. He's also a real Irish dancer. Did
That
you know
makes sense. You really don't
His whole
even
family
see...
are Irish dancers. His mother's an Irish. He comes from he's a second generation Irish dancer.
Interesting. You don't really see actually what he's capable of doing in this particular film. You do in other films. You do in also Karate Kid Part 3, where Thomas Ian Griffith is the bad guy.
Yeah.
He's flinging high kicks, and then you can see
I
that...
think the fights are all right in this, though. I think they have a wee bit of impact. The punches look like they're landing on it. I don't think the fights are that bad. It's everything else that's bad. And they're listen, the fights I'm not saying the fights are good, by the way. So they go to this ski resort. By the way, Cliffhanger came out a year before this film.
Oh, that was in my mind, aye. There's a few wee influences.
Which, by the way, I think is a really good film. I like
No
Cliffhanger.
wee influences, for fuck's sake. I mean, Die Hard. It's what we're about to explain next is basically Die Hard.
But Cliffhanger wasn't Die Hard. Cliffhanger was that you never watched Cliffhanger and went, this is just fucking Die Hard. It had the same
but
identity.
Crackerjack.
Oh, but Crackerjack. Yeah, well, I mean, it fucking wishes. It wishes.
Well, aye.
Oh, of course, there's a connection. See, this is what's the beautiful thing about this show, is that we start to create connections. So, Cliffhanger, we've mentioned, which of course starred Sylvester Stallone, who was in Over the Top, which we've covered on CVXX, if you looked in a previous episode.
Also Maggie.
And also Janine Turner from Northern Exposure, that we've also covered as well. And you have to see all these things all start to weave together. This is the first appearance of Thomas Ian Griffith, though, and the first appearance of Christopher Plummer, who will it be the last? We don't know. Yeah, this is exciting. I'm really excited.
I'm going to need your help to navigate the next bit of plot that's happening here, because he goes into that hotel and then I'm not entirely sure I understood what was happening.
I've got no idea what they're doing.
Because there's the old guy and his son, and are they responsible for Thomas Ian Griffith's family's murder?
I've got no idea, because see, for the next section of the film, I've just only written 2 notes, and one of them is he acts like a cunt, Thomas Ian Griffith, and Kinski is a wee darling. That's the only 2 things I've written. So I don't really know. There's basically the guy that owns the ski resort. Is the old guy the guy who owns the ski resort?
I think so.
And then his son has made some deals with the gangsters or something. I have no idea what's fucking going on.
I couldn't find out. I honestly have watched the film, couldn't figure out what the relationship between Christopher Plummer's guy who was after diamonds. There's an expedition and a scientist or something that's helping them find diamonds, and he goes missing. It looks like he falls down a crevasse or something. Or
The bearded guy's going to explode a glacier or something to allow them to...
But he runs away and he's hiding in the hotel. I don't know if he hid the diamonds or...
Basically what we're saying is the plot's too sophisticated, right, for us to It's
decode. Highbrow. Crackerjack's highbrow.
Jack's got a weird relationship with his sister-in-law, hasn't he?
Aye.
Because at the pool, does she not say something like or something like that? There's a wee moment, there's a weird... Nobody's sister-in-law behaves like that.
That old guy's speech about now I am old, I have arthritis.
You've jumped away ahead, by the way. You're away towards it. He's trying to get to the end of this.
That's an early note. That's way before the cave set.
Oh, is this... But is... All right, so you're not at the party yet.
We were on our honeymoon. Now I am a dying man. I have arthritis.
No,
right,
no,
okay.
no.
So what's the old guy saying?
Yeah, that was it. That's my only note. It was that was just part of his long. Even though he is an old guy, he was putting on the old guy act even more. And then he said, "I'm old."
He isn't even that old, is he?
No, he's
in
fine.
his 60s or
Yeah,
something.
he's fine.
There's
a wee plane model set. Sorry, just to jump in.
Yeah.
And the door on the plane, I'll show you, is lying open on the plane.
There's a lot of miniatures work in this film, to be fair to them.
Models.
So I don't want to draw any parallels here. I'm not saying anything. I'm not drawing any parallels with any real life incidents or anything like that. But it has to be said that Cracker Jack's brother and his missus leave the wine up in the hotel room while they are out boozing at the pool.
They leave a radio though.
It does happen. Wonder if they need to send a cadaver dog into the boot of their motor after. So they get to this fucking cave, right? Because basically Natasha Kinski's having a wee swim in this cave, isn't she? And Cracker Jack walks in, he's like, fuck, look how
She works for the hotel, Natasha. And
Werner Herzog waved a gun at that lassie's da, by the way. Basically saying, you know.
Good. So Thomasine Griffiths fancies firing into Natasha and follows her into a cave set.
Can I just remind you that the problem with Thomasine Griffith, by the way, is that he can't get over the trauma of his wife's death. But the minute he sees Natasha Kinski, he's like
a walking stoner. The cave set's like something that old episode of Star Trek, like one of the Shatner's episodes. You keep expecting a pop.
That's quite high praise actually, because I've written that it looks like Santa's Grotto in Springburn Shopping Centre.
Same kind of the lightings like this. No, they've got the set, but it's not as well lit as when it was in Star Trek.
No, you want to see this. You want to see this set, by the way,
and they use it throughout the film.
I think it's the same guy who did the set for, there was a show called The Ink Thief. There was an aeroplane in that, and I think it was the same guy. You want to see this? You want to see the fucking stalactites in this cave?
You can turn around now.
So this is the hot springs.
See when the sister-in-law is explaining to Natasha Kinski what's wrong with Cracker Jack, she starts telling the story, and she says this about her sister-in-law and her nieces and nephews. She says, so he packed up the wife and kids, she says. That's what he says. That's what she says. He packed up the wife and kids. Nothing makes any sense. By the way, they did try and send him to therapy, the brother says. We tried to send him to therapy, but he ended up giving the doc a fat lip. He says,
so that's fine. Don't try that again then.
So I had to do a bit of research here, Ryan, because at one point in this film, Thomas Ian Griffith stands on a balcony and watches two people we never see again shagging.
This is after he can't himself shag, like he sends a woman away because he's like, no, it's not really my.
No,
I'm not in that place, sort of thing.
No, he can't. He's not able. Even though you said he's a walking stoner, he's not actually a walking stoner because he's still got that wedding band. He did wife on his.
But he's following this last era as well.
However, he does stand on a balcony for about 5 minutes watching a guy rubbing ice cubes on a lassie's tits. Right?
And you'll watch it as well because it's a nice big close up for a good 10-15 seconds.
I researched this, and this movie was contractually obliged to have that scene in the movie. One of the distributors said, fair enough, we'll give you put a bit of money in. There better be a tit in it. There better be some tits on show. This is the night. This was the fucking, some would say the good old days.
Aye, simpler times, isn't it?
Some would say the good old days. But so he's watching this shagging happening. That's to the point where you realise, oh, this is Die Hard, because they're shagging and then a guy with an eye patch comes into the room.
Yeah, people start going with these. This is the Germans, I think. They turn up and they start killing people. Aye, they're Germans.
So I've actually written, oh, it's Die Hard at that point.
I think I can now talk about the first fight that Cracker Jack gets in with one of the German guys, and ends up a knife sticking through a door.
Aye, that's right.
And the literal wind blows the door shut and blows the knife into the German guy's back and kills him.
It's very good.
And he pretends he's dead.
It's innovative. Somebody says at one point, I can't remember who, but round about this point, when the terrorists of other terrorists, who knows, they've
also that guy that Crackerjack and the Wind killed was carrying an Uzi machine gun.
Yeah.
Jack didn't pick up the Uzi and then went on the hunt through the hotel to find his gun, which had been confiscated by his fucking sister-in-law, who said, "You'll no need a gun on this skiing holiday."
At some point in this...
Why did they not pick up the Uzi?
At this point in this movie, somebody says to somebody, "You've lost your marbles," as well. Which I also thought to myself, that's a fucking crazy thing for somebody to say to somebody in an action film.
I mean, all bets are off in this film, I think.
So, at one point, Jack confronts a couple of terrorists and the guy throws a chair at him and the chair disappears.
I missed that.
He just throws a chair and then it cuts to the other side and there's no mention of the chair again.
Fuck it.
So anyway, so the terrorists have got everybody all in this big hall and they're going through the guest list and they're saying, we're going to shout everybody out and then you're going to come forward and then if we shout anybody out who isn't here, we're going to know there's fucking no everybody here. So Crackerjack is up on the roof and he's heard this and he's went, uh-oh, I'm in trouble here. This isn't good news because they're going to know I'm no part of the, he's done it. He's like a John McClane. He's no way the terrorists. So they start going through the guest list and here's the only clever thing in the whole movie, right? Is they get to they three, him, his sister-in-law and the brother, and they say, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Thingmate, and they go, and this is little Jack. So they say the baby is Jack, so the terrorists don't know that Crackerjack's no actually.
Do you remember Jack's surname? Crackerjack's surname?
No, what is it?
Jack Wild.
So this is little Jack Wild, right? So that's the only clever bit in the film. He's went, and in fact, Crackerjack's up on the roof looking down at this and he goes like that, smart thinking or something. He goes like, that's clever girl or something like that, because she comes up with that idea. Then he just opens fire on the room.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately after that clever idea where he knew his agency to do whatever he wants, he decides to just start shooting into the fucking room. The guy, this is the hero of your film, he's a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm. Are we up to the bit where he swims through the swimming pool filter yet? Sorry, I'm being quite downbeat about this, right?
And I'll go for him.
Jack's, where is he? He's just trying to escape, I think. Just escape the hotel, because he started firing at everybody, so now everybody knows where he is. So while he's trying to escape, he jumps into the swimming pool, pulls off the grate for which looks mad loose, like they should have a maintenance guy or something keeping an eye on that. The filter comes right off. He swims through the filter and comes out in this cave set.
Back in the cave.
And see the fucking lighting in this. Well, the lighting throughout the film's dog shit, but the lighting in this scene is just so silly. Like a Santa's grotto. You say, so for some unexplained reason, the swimming pool and the cave set are like Dark Souls. It's a bit like Dark Souls.
They've reconnected round
all the areas connect together.
If you're playing a video game, actually go, oh, that's quite clever. I'm back in the noodles, a shortcut through the pool into the. But it's not a video game, is it?
That bit where he cuts the light off in the building.
Mm-hmm.
He's already spoken to these Marines or something. He's been on the radio to the Marines.
Well, he asked the Marines for help, and the Marines say, right, we're coming to get you, but I need you to pull their pants down for me. It's literally what the fucking guy says, the sergeant says to him.
Jack says SOS Mayday or whatever. That's what he says. He's not got the time for emergencies. So...
See the old guy, by the way, see before you proceed, see the old guy, see when the gunfire starts in the building, the baby kind of falls down the ground and the old guy kind of pulls the baby in and protects the baby. I feel like maybe somebody has said it would be nice if this character, this old guy, had a redemption arc in this story somewhere. And you know that this is the redemption arc because when the old guy dies after saving the baby, he says, I have my redemption, and then he dies.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is fucking bad, this movie.
I didn't want to miss out mentioning when Thomasine Griffith is cutting the electricity power lines. There's literally an axe on the wall next to the silver tubes that has all the electricity in it, and it says ballroom lighting
Yeah.
above the big thing. It's
You don't think that would be a real thing?
I don't know.
You think it would say specifically ballroom lighting above a big tube?
The axe isn't close to anything other than this metal. Anyway,
Can I just say as well, isn't he why this guy that's Jack's brother is Jack's brother? It looks fucking nothing like
no,
Jack.
it looks nothing like him. Axe, nothing like him.
There's nothing like him. But I'll tell you something, he's a bigger hero than Jack, isn't he?
How come?
Because your man goes to shoot Jack and the brother jumps in front of Jack
does.
to save his life.
And then we need to go through a death scene, which is shite, and then it turns out it's not a death scene because his brother's got a hip flask. Took Jack's hip flask off him, which I never really understood why Jack just gave it up, the hip flask, but it took his hip flask off him. That caught a bullet, the hip flask saved his life. Christopher Plummer's accent in this is shite.
Well, he's obviously...
And his hairpiece as well is shite.
He's genuinely trying to do an Alan Rickman type foreign villain, right? So it is that, but aye, it's just...
But why... Was he no German as well? And Die Hard, why not change it to something else?
Because it just wasn't that time. It was like, oh, Cliffhanger was out last year, that's good, we've got a bit of ice in it. It's a bit Die Hard, we've got the foreign terrorists. They were just wanting to deal with that. That was the time. It was the time was they'd be like, if he says to them, this is just Die Hard, they'd be like, aye. Mm-hmm. And what of it?
I suppose. It's only about 10 minutes before the film ends that we've seen these Germans attacking. Cracker Jack's killed off about half of them, but there's only about 10 minutes, 15 minutes left before the end of the film before Plummer starts hunting it with some like Nazi party. Yeah. So they've decided at the tail end to go, he's a Nazi as well. They're all Nazis as well.
They've obviously went as well, we need to make sure that this movie ends in a location that is fitting for the big conclusion of our movie. So they end up all back in that fucking cave again at the end, didn't they?
Yep. Yep.
You want to see this fucking cave. It looks like there's maybe fabric, like felt on the flare or something. It looks like... you know how when you go to B&Q and you think to yourself, I'm going to build a pond in my garden, and you go to B&Q and you buy one of the plastic pond shell things and you buy a bit of tarpaulin and stuff like that. And that's kind of what it looks like. It looks like somebody's went to B&Q and they go to that set about fucking 4 times.
Must have been expensive. The henchman, the German henchman guy for Christopher Plummer's number 1 or whatever he is, looks like a kind of strangely buff Fraser Crane.
Aye, and there's a big giant woman in it as well.
Aye, with a deep voice.
There's a big giant woman with a deep voice. You know.
They're Aryans for some reason.
Thomas Ian Griffith is still kicking the ball. That is some good news.
He looks good.
He was recently in Cobra Kai, the teleprogram.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but...
Playing that character in multiple series of that. He's also does a bit of work with Dolly Parton and stuff like that. So kind of ball, good on him. He was always... His problem was, and I forgot, can you believe I forgot what Thomas Ian Griffith's problem was? The smiling. I forgot what it was. That problem until about halfway through the film, and he kind of went, no, it's something. And then his face just looked like he had a smile on him, and I thought to myself,
Joker smile.
There it fucking is. There it is. When he is suffering trauma, he looks like he's smiling, and that's fatal, isn't it?
It is for the hero of the film.
Yeah.
Good, pretty decent for a villain, now and again. He's got better films than this.
Good looking guy, decent actor. Good physicality.
This isn't a good example. I think
Ulterior Motives is better.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He's got a couple of actually decent action films. This isn't that. This
isn't one. This is a bad one. But, you know, I do feel that it's a kind of warning, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a like one of the, what is the term you use for it when something is a thing that is a warning to you? A cautionary tale, that's what it is. It's a cautionary tale that, you know, don't have people calling you like Cracker Ryan or Cracker. Don't allow Cracker to be the suffix to your name. A suffix is I don't know what I'm saying anymore, I'm panicking. Ryan, I need you to speak to get me out of this.
We're done, let's go and look at games, that's enough of that.
Margaret, get in here. That's that Rab Flornstein, a Fire Pro game again. I am. Look at this beautiful cover, by the way. This is a Super Fire Pro Wrestling Queens special, which is a Japan exclusive, obviously, for your Super Nintendo, and is about the women's division in All Japan Pro Wrestling. No often that you would get a Fire Pro Wrestling game that has actual licensed characters in it, licensed wrestlers. Here we have Manami Toyota, who I'm going to be playing, and it's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. There she is, Toyota the Innovator, the master of the missile dropkick, and I'm going to be leading her through a wee career mode. You get a multiple modes in this game. You don't get a story mode like you go in a Super Fire Pro Wrestling Final Bout, but you get a lot of wee gimmick matches and stuff, tournaments. You can set all that stuff up. What you fucking wanting? It's a brilliant wrestling game. What you wanting? You want a story mode? You want a fucking campaign? You can fuck off. Anyway, the thing that I wanted to do here is, obviously on CVXX, I've covered in the past Fire Pro Wrestling. But I think it would be useful, I think it would be handy to, through the run of CVXX, check in on Fire Pro as it develops through the generations of game consoles. You know, when we get to the Dreamcast, obviously I'll be doing Fire Pro D. Obviously I will have checked in on the Sega Saturn 6-man scramble before then. So you can look forward to much more Fire Pro coverage down the line. But I think it's just important to check in. And as you can see here, as you're watching this already, now remember when this game came out. Remember what other games were around at the time, what other kind of fighting games were around at the time. And I will still say, you know, the one thing that you always say about Fire Pro is that always kind of surprises you with how evolved it is, how kind of developed it is. When you look at these animations, you look at the wealth of moves that Fire Pro games always had. I mean, check this out. I mean, things like this. I mean, that's just no normal. I still say that's no normal for a game of its type. You've got to remember, it wasn't that long ago, you know, you're talking about things like Super WrestleMania on the Super Nintendo, where there was barely any moves at all. Anyway, this particular iteration of the game is one of my favourites, and it's one of my favourites because that Joshi women's wrestling scene of the 1990s was so ahead of its time. It was so special, and it was populated. This division in All Japan was populated with some of the greatest wrestlers ever to do it. You know, so it's really exciting to have this kind of record of history, and to have all these amazing wrestlers represented properly within the game. And when you combine that with what's magic about, watch this. Now, I want you to watch that back there, because what happened there was that I stood up, right? I get flung out the ring, I stood up, and then I walked into the move the opponent did. And this is what's special about Fire Pro, is that even though when you're playing it and you're playing it competitively, something kicks in when you play Fire Pro where you want the match to be good. So sometimes you'll actually walk into danger just to make sure that a move doesn't get botched. Do you know what I mean? There's no really another gameplay experience like it. And yeah, anyway, another fantastic Fire Pro Wrestling game. I don't know what else you want me to say. I stuck this on to cover it for the show and ended up playing it for about 3 days. What a finish, man. So the final.
Wait, let's do music. Let's do.
All right, we got some music info from it. That's
all the
great.
music of the year. I'm just going to scan through. Let's have a look and see if there's anything that we like. Boys to Men 2, is it? Voodoo Lounge for the Rolling Stones. Kylie Minogue's got an album out. Seal 2's out. Warren G Regulate. I think we mentioned that before. Aaliyah is. I think she still wears 1984. Outcast.
She did have stuff that came out post, but yeah, she might still be wears. That's sad. It's fucking sad every time I think about Aaliyah.
Morrissey's got Foxhole and I out. R.E.M's Monster came out. I spent a lot of time in my dirty wee bedroom listening to that on repeat. Cranberries, No Need to Argue.
Your bedroom wasn't dirty. Your bedroom wasn't dirty.
It was black. You couldn't tell. Pearl Jam's Vitology. TLC's Crazy Sexy Cool. We like that album.
Classic.
Pulp had his and hers out. I've never liked Pulp.
Not a big Pulp guy. I mean, I respect their work.
Suede's Dog Star Man. Beastie Boys.
Album.
Communication. Is it 3?
L Communication.
L Communication.
3 Communication.
It's the font. Soundgarden Super Unknown. We mentioned BIG's Ready to Die was it this year as well. Portishead's Dummy is it this year. Weezer's Blue album's it. Nas has got Illmatic. Nirvana's got MTV Unplugged, and top in the charts is the Park Life by the Blur, and the Definitely Maybe by the Oasis. Oh, and Green Day's Dookie as well. A lot of music that I liked is high in the charts this year.
Did you like Green Day's Dookie?
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on now to a TV show that launched in 1994 off the back of a radio show.
I didn't even know that.
Research. And it's a show called Room 101. Now, Room 101 obviously is a reference to George Orwell's 1984, where your man gets taken to the fucking room and all that, and he gets a cage put in his head with the fucking rats in it and all that kind of. It's like 1984. That's what people say, innit? It's fucking worse than 1984, I know, I would say. Is it worse than 1984? I'm exaggerating.
I'm going to sneeze.
What?
I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm fine.
Anyway, this Room 101 is presented, it was initially presented, it ran for quite a long time, it was initially presented by Nick Hancock. Now, Ryan.
Hello.
When I watched this, it reminded me of a strongly held belief of mine that Nick Hancock is a really great telepresenter.
I started off thinking that.
What does that fucking mean?
What's my first notes? Hancock's very pro, I'd written down. That was one of the first things. After he was having a dig at Dire Straits and Metaphysical Poets and Gary Davis, I can't, because so much time's passed since this was on, I can't tell where the lines of acceptably cool and not acceptably cool are anymore. Like, I don't understand a lot of the references.
Well, it was a different time. It's all you can't.
But I've written down that he's a pro, but throughout the course of the show, he went a wee bit far towards like Clive Anderson kind of snidiness. That was just like, oh, fucking.
But that was also the time, though. That was also the time.
I know.
I mean, but I'm thinking more just along the lines of, though, I was like, oh fuck, of course, Nick Hancock, because he also presented. Do you think it's all
show.
over?
I think that's what it was called.
Do you think it's all? And I remember he was a great presenter.
Aye, definitely safe hands.
Still kicking a ball. I think he does a podcast and stuff like that. But I was like, why is this guy on telly? Because he's a really, really good presenter. Anyway, on the show, the concept of the show as guests come on, and then they bring a selection of things that they want to put into Room 101, which is the room where all the worst things in the world go.
Which banishes them out of existence.
It banishes them out of existence, and you have to argue the case for sending the things that you hate into Room 101. And the guest on this first episode of the show is the great Bob Monkhouse.
Right, Bob, well, we've got your choices here.
Bob Monkhouse. What can we say about Bob Monkhouse? Right,
first thing I wrote down, after Hancock is very pro, Bob's just walked out onto the stage, and the first thing I wrote down was, I miss Bob a lot. I miss him. And then he spoke, and I remembered what his voice was like.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's just nearly always making jokes. I was like, oh, I really miss Bob.
So it's a really nice opportunity to talk about somebody like Bob Monkhouse, because obviously he is a man who spans generations and spans time outside the purview of CVXX.
He jokes about being in the business for about 80 years, but he genuinely was in the business for like 50, 60.
I mean, old school, slick as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Monkhouse is unique, completely unique, I think, among British entertainers, in that he's way more influenced by the American entertainment industry.
Which, to jump to the end of the episodes, a wee snippet for like, I think 60s, maybe early to mid 60s. Bob singing is clearly influenced by like American crooners, but strong voice, strong.
Wonderful stuff, man.
Interesting, kind of character-filled, strong voice.
So he, obviously Bob Monkhouse, a fascinating guy. We can't spend too much time talking about who Bob Monkhouse was, but a great writer, a great stand-up, a fantastic telepresenter. Presented a lot of game shows throughout his life and all that because he was great working with people.
Loved jokes.
Yeah.
Loved jokes.
Fast, off the cuff, fucking, you know, like he just had the big bank he had because he collected jokes as well, and books and books of jokes that he collected. He also,
forget the time frame, but I remember he had lost a joke book or lost his latest joke book and had to put a reward for it. I think he got it back. And he, you know, I remember watching a documentary about Bob Monkhouse, and he would tape. He had almost like a encyclopedic knowledge of comedy. Like he would tape comedy, and like big loads of videotapes of comedy that he taped off TV and stuff like that. So just like a proper legend. So it was nice to see him, wasn't it? Definitely. He's sorely missed.
It was nice to see him.
It was a pity that we then had to watch him being snidey about people.
But again, that's a concept to the show, though. I thought it was quite interesting to watch Bob Monkhouse on this, though, because he came across, I think, on this show as a nice man who didn't really hate anything.
He didn't hate them, no. It was just like he was a wee bit annoyed by some stuff.
I mean, Cilla Black was his first choice to go into Room 101.
More specifically, Cilla Black's singing voice, because he does repeatedly say that he does like Cilla and appreciates that she's been entertaining. What she says is that she's been entertaining people in the business for 20 years, but she's been in the business for 30 years.
Aye. Delighting audiences, that's what he says. Delighting audiences for 20 years. She's been in the business for 30. So he's covering himself a wee bit by kind of being like, lovely lady, blah, blah, look at her, she's beautiful and all that, but it's just when she starts singing fucking hell, I run for the house, right? Which is, you know, I still feel like you would never do that now, though. You would not. I feel like you wouldn't see a show on telly where somebody says about another entertainer who's currently working in the field, say, I want her banished into this thing because her singing's rotten. It was a different fucking world.
They also showed a picture of like current day Cilla. They put back like side by side like 60s Cilla and Cilla now, and Hancock said money well spent about Cilla's face. I was like, fucking get a rest.
Bob Monkhouse says he's happy with acting, breathing, standing, fine, singing, no. Anyway, Cilla doesn't go in. Cilla doesn't get put in. And, you know, and I do genuinely think...
But it's a singing voice.
It's a singing voice. And then Bob Monkhouse puts up the golden shot, his own show that he presented.
Which is an absolutely spectacular joke, isn't it? The old clip of the golden shot that they showed.
That's a fucking...
The nickel joke.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, show that joke.
I was in Africa last week on holiday, and apparently the missionaries, the clergymen, when they went into the African jungle, they wore underpants made of nickel so that the spears would glance off them if the natives threw spears at them. They were known as the nickel-ass parsons.
And Bob Monkhouse is an interesting thing, by the way, which made me reflect on my own TV career, where he says about the golden shot that it was fondly remembered by people who hated it at the time. Which is nothing sums up fucking telly like that. So the very funny bit with the lassie holding the tray, wasn't there? There was a very funny clip.
Yeah,
so
too many things.
Right away you could see that Room 101 had good researchers working on it, were finding lots of good funny doing what we do, essentially. Room 101. Oh, fuck's sake, see when you think about it a wee bit.
So golden shot doesn't go in either. And they managed to sneak in plenty of wee digs at Bullseye, Jim Bone's Bullseye, which is hot stuff on telly still.
Can I just relate this great joke about Jim Bone that Bob Monkhouse says?
Oh my God, is it the pay?
He says, actually, Jim Bone's doing well. His agent's already taking bookings for 1995, and last year he was only getting 1750. I mean, fucking old school. Anyway, so then he decides to put the French in. That's something you wouldn't do nowadays either. You wouldn't go on a show and say, I want to put the French.
They would. The English don't like the French.
English don't, and it's fine. Actually, I was going to say I listen to a podcast now and they make jokes all the time about the French. But it was the minute he said I want to put the French in that I thought to myself, Bob Monkhouse doesn't hate anybody or anything really.
Nah.
The minute you choose something as kind of general as like the French and like they're hairy and he was just making jokes about you can see this is just a nice man who...
He wants to hear that. Hey,
do you want me to tell you why Bob Monkhouse is on this show? I think Bob Monkhouse is on this show. No, because it's Nick Hancock's first episode doing this show on TV.
Aye, look, Nick Hancock's...
You're going to get a fucking safe pair of horns.
Aye, Hancock's often just kind of sit. He's not even like know that he's even interrupting jokes. He's waiting for more jokes. He's like sitting back and he's enjoying.
I guarantee you Nick Hancock's sitting there going, I can't fucking believe my luck, man. I'm sitting here with Bob Monkhouse.
Yeah.
Then he wants to put ventriloquists in. Now, this is what a bit I want to talk about, Ryan, and also Bob Monkhouse is very clear here as well. He doesn't mean all ventriloquists.
No.
He doesn't want to offend any of his pals. He says just the ones whose mouths move, and that's not many ventriloquists, really, is it?
They have a go at fucking Keith Harris and Orville as well, and then they show a clip of Keith Harris and Orville, and he's good. Like, it's corny, but he's good.
See, this is the thing I wanted to talk about, because it occurred to me. So Nick Hancock goes, well, let's take a look at Keith Harris and Orville. And it's a kind of snidey look at Keith Harris and Orville. Keith Harris is doing his act. Orville singing about, I'm sad all the time, and stuff like that. And Keith Harris going, but I'll be with you, Orville. And I thought to myself, I have never really considered for a minute that Orville wasn't a separate entity for Keith Harris.
Mm-hmm.
There's an argument that Keith Harris is the greatest ventriloquist who ever lived. I'm being serious here.
Good.
I'm fucking being serious, because every other ventriloquist...
That monkey exists.
Chuckles the monkey is
he hates that duck.
A separate entity.
He hates that duck.
If you were to say to me, Chuckles the monkey is Orville, I'd be like that. You're fucking out of your mind. You're out of your mind. He doesn't sound like Orville. He doesn't look like he hates
He's
Orville.
a different personality.
And so every other ventriloquist I can think of, and I mean,
and subscribe, guys. Come on.
Every other ventriloquist I can think of, I can't separate that performer for the puppet. I'm like, they're working the puppet and they're doing the puppet. But Keith Harris and Orville are discrete, sentient entities.
Mm-hmm.
They're different people. They're different. I know that duck isn't that guy. Even when you listen to their voices, the songs, the singing and stuff like that, it's a fucking...
Mm-hmm. Orville can sing, he can.
That's exactly, there's something there. Orville is tuneful, and he isn't. So it's like, I think if I was to show, I was thinking about this, if I was to show to my Waynes the new Keith Harris and Orville, there is no way, no for 1 second would they go, that guy's doing that voice and working that duck. They would just think that's some kind of robot duck or a puppet duck where I hang my voice. They wouldn't think it was a real duck, right? They're no like, that's a fucking real big fat duck with an happy one, right? They're normal Waynes, right? They're brains not. But they would do in it for 1 minute go, that guy beside Orville is doing that.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, they put them in, didn't they? Ventriloquist go
Keith Harris isn't kicking a ball anymore, by the way. And I want you to think about that for a minute, because Keith Harris. See what I mean? When Keith Harris dies, Orville dies as well.
His voice does, anyway.
Chuckles dies as well.
Sad, isn't it?
When Chuckles all his life hated fucking Orville, and little did he know
he was Orville.
He was. If Orville stops breathing, he would have fucking killed that duck. He hated that duck. He would have killed. He would have chosen. See if he put a gun in Chuckles' horns, he would have shot Orville,
and then he would have shot himself.
And he would have shot himself. That's deep, fucking deep, man. Deep. Get a big fucking bong lit up, man.
So ventriloquists go in anyway. They make a shite joke about Orville being a big prop, cooked turkey thing. What's next? Kumbaya.
Kumbaya. Nobody in the world hates.
This show was quite long. It felt good. 28, 29 minutes.
Yeah.
A few things.
Kumbaya. Bob Monkhouse is talking about how he's a cultured man, and he goes to. I mean, I went to the Royal Opera House last week. I tell you, they don't like you singing along, do they? And then to cover Kumbaya, they show you a clip of the black and white minstrel show.
And say to their credit that it's racially insensitive.
Of course. The black and white minstrel show was a show where people blacked up as minstrels. It was in the fucking 1970s. This was in 1945. People go like that. I don't want to hear anything about Al Jolson. They say, like, I love listening to Al Jolson sing, right? Let's put that right out there. But people say, I'm not going to listen to fucking Al Jolson. We shouldn't be playing any Al Jolson music, because that guy blacked up as a minstrel and went around America in the fucking 20s and 30s, right? The BBC were fucking showing a minstrel show in the 1970s. The 70s!
So here's a clip.
Look at the sleeves on that man second from the left. If you had sleeves like that near a campfire, you'd just go up.
He wants to put Elvis in as well. This is just a demented comment. But it was interesting that his reasoning for putting Elvis in was that he just decided he hated Elvis and then he couldn't change his mind, which I think says a lot about just how men's minds work.
He did that. He smashed a record.
Heartbreak Hotel.
Heartbreak Hotel. He'd smashed a few copies of that on his radio show, and that was him entrenched in no liking Elvis.
And I think that says a lot about just how men's minds work.
Did Elvis go in?
Elvis did go in, aye.
They put a bust that looked absolutely nothing like Elvis.
No, they had a big gyrating Elvis that was gyrating right in Bob Monkhouse's face as well, which was
Bob
good.
thought it was amazing.
He loved it.
It was like, wow,
He loved
technology.
And then he wanted to put in the Big Breakfast.
Which was interesting to hear.
We've done the Big Breakfast, didn't we?
Yes, we
There's
have.
another connection!
So Bob Monkhouse in December or November, he wasn't quite sure when it happened because he makes a joke that he was trying to block out his memory. Did a week's cover for Chris Evans on the Big Breakfast and hated the experience.
Yeah.
Because he had to wear an earpiece, listen to a production editor, had to get up at 2 a.m. to drive into the place. They showed a clip with Zig and Zag, which looked quite entertaining and funny. But he
was dropping all his notes everywhere.
He was all over the place. But he says he hated it, so he wanted to put that
But then
in,
also, he's at it, because then...
It's cool that he's like he's at a point in his career where he can... This is only a job that he's done a few months ago, and he's now gone on another telly show and gone, that was fucking shite.
Yeah, but also he is covering himself, because when it doesn't go in and then he gets given the thing, he says, I'm going to accept this, because he gets given like a clotty, you get given
anything that doesn't go in room 101, you get a load of shite to take home. So he's got a massive sack of crap to take on the train home.
Yeah, it's just like an object he represented that didn't go in, and he's like, I'm going to accept this because I really valued the teamwork and working on that show and that. So he's covering himself. He's saying, I didn't like getting up in the morning, I didn't like dealing with that earpiece, but the teamwork, the people, are just a fucking nice man. Just a nice...
I don't think he's capable of extreme hate.
A fucking legend.
They didn't say until it was over that was the final choice, which was strange, but maybe they're still kind of feeling themselves out with a first episode of their programme, because it kind of it felt like it ended abruptly. It was just like Big Breakfast and then that was it, done. That was the end of the show.
As Ryan mentioned,
and then the old clip.
It ends with a clip of Bob Monkhouse presenting an East Anglia beauty contest, and he's singing a song at the end about beautiful regional girls that he's met in his travels across England. And listen, I'm not joking here, it is fucking fantastic.
He's really good.
It's fantastic. It's an amazing performance. Might as well play it. It's fucking funny. And
Around Skegness and Peterborough way, I measured every shape until my tape gave way. You could call it dull in Hull, and in Hunstanton and Northampton I just blew my skull. I kissed the flirt.
so that was Room 101, which was a show that I watched a lot with my dad. If Room 101 was on, I would watch it.
Aye, definitely.
Because anything where somebody makes a list of things,
especially if it's somebody that you know and like and are interested to see what their choices are going to be.
It's I actually thought to myself after watching it, I thought I would quite like to watch some more old ones, because I bet there's some interesting stuff on there. Great presenter.
I'm going to have to go to the toilet. Gufton are going to be happy about it. So could you do the outro to the show?
I'll do the outro to the show.
If there's another games bit,
let's get games up while he's at the toilet.
Managed to catch my talk at GDC will already know that
Theme Park doesn't have any music or anything, sound effects on the Amiga, much anyway. It doesn't have that much. It's a lot of quiet, so I've stuck a bit of Peter Molyneux talking underneath it. I think he's actually talking about a Sable game, but he's lying anyway, so it doesn't really matter what game he's talking about. Theme Park, sponsored by Midland Bank, it seems, is a sim game, obviously, for Bullfrog, who've got a list of smash hits before Theme Park comes out. Curiously, it was developed by Peter the biggest liar who ever lived, Peter Molyneux, and Demis Hassabis, who interestingly is some kind of AI legend, co-founder of DeepMind apparently. So the co-founder of DeepMind made this. Where did that letter come from? There's literally not even anybody in the park and some letter appeared. Did I put that letter there? Because that is not like me. So in theme park, you don't really need an explanation, do you? You run a theme park. Look, here's a bouncy castle. That's your entry level ride. That's the lowest definition of what you could call a ride in a theme park, a bouncy castle. Mere litter appearing out of the blue. Nobody's visited the park. The litter, maybe it's just blowing in. Maybe this park is close to Glasgow. That's what it will be. Litter just blows in. Sold 15 million copies this game. It was ported to pretty much everything. PC, Mega Drive, Sega Saturn, Mega CD, Amiga CD32, Atari Jaguar 3DO, Super Nintendo, Mac, I think and others as well, to be honest. That list is incomplete. So it was ported everywhere and it sold loads and loads of copies. But it's nowhere near the best. See me trying to cover the litter up by building the bloody... Oh, Ryan, cutting corners. Yeah, no anywhere close to being the greatest Bullfrog game, this, but tremendously successful. It was nearly a Disney game, actually. Did you know that Disney nearly wanted to release it as a Disneyland game? But the studio didn't want to lose creative control. Interesting. Interesting that they had that much faith in themselves. But they were right, because it sold gangbusters. But it just doesn't do it in the same way as the earlier Bullfrog games does it. I still played it for ages. Obviously, we've been through this before. If a game's out, back then, you're playing it, because it's out, so you play it. Nowadays, 10 billion games out. That's a statistic, that's a real statistic, that 10 billion games are out every 6 minutes. So it's hard to keep up. Finally putting a bloody cleaner in there. Place, you're going to need more than one cleaner. Chicken Man. Get a Chicken Man instead. So you build your theme park, you research and develop new rides, you always put more salt in the chips, and the fries, and that means that your customers, park visitors want to buy more drink because you put more sugar in the thing. So you're making money, you need to negotiate as well, staff salaries and things like that. The problem I now have with theme park is that the fun parts in it aren't fun enough to make up for the boring parts, because there's quite a few boring parts. This is fine the first couple of times that you've done it, but then you need to do it loads more times, and then there's graphs and stuff, and it gets really boring. It's around about now that you start thinking, did one of the co-founders of DeepMind make this fucking game that's meant to be fun? The thing is, an artist actually quit the art style of this game, interestingly. Didn't like the cartoonish style that was supposed to be for Peter wanted it for like the Japanese market. I don't really see the point in the kind of cartoony style because it's boring as fuck. I mean, it's fine, probably as like a first playthrough it's kind of fine, but it's stretching the definition of the word fun, I think, theme park. Probably for the age, an incredibly harsh take. Still quite playable. Suffers from no much sound. Amiga 600 that I'm playing this on. No much in the way of sound files. That's the way it used to be with video games, computer games. You could either have graphics or sound. You've got some graphics here, so all you're getting is the sound of a till ringing, which is the sound that rings in Peter Molyneux's ears every time he tells a lie.
Can I shock you? It's alright if I shock you here, because you know I'm a big fan of Japanese RPGs. I talk about them a lot. I've talked about them a lot in Consylvania. I talk about them a lot in CVXX. I talk about Japanese RPGs all the time. Read books about Japanese RPGs, play them all the time. But there's a big gap. There's something missing in my history of playing Japanese RPGs. And you're not going to believe this. It's this. Chrono Trigger. I've never played it. I have never played it. Didn't have a Super Nintendo at the time. When it was released on the DS, I think. Didn't he pick it up then? I've never played it on an emulator. I've never played it. I think maybe on an emulator I kind of started it up and played maybe the first 10 minutes or something and went, oh, this looks good. Never played it. Never played it to the end. Of course, now I own it. Here it is. Complete. In its box. The all Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo. And I thought to myself, for CVXX, I want to do something about this because it is considered by most Japanese RPG fans as the pinnacle, you know, as like one of the true greats of all time. Some people say it's the GOAT. That's what they say nowadays, isn't it? The GOAT. Goats, back in my day, I'm that old that goats used to be manifestations of the devil, is what they used to be back in the fucking witch hunter times. Now, being a goat is a good thing. Anyway, I've never played Chrono Trigger, and I thought to myself, well, what I could do for CVXX is I could have a cursory wee look again, play that first 10 minutes again, say, oh, that's nice, put it away. But no, it's time. It's time for me to properly play it. So it's time for me to do maybe some kind of long play thing, I think. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I want to give this the proper place. I mean, look, it's gorgeous. Look at that cover. Look at that cover there. That's your Chrono Trigger. So I know this is annoying when anybody does this, but this will be for patrons only. This is going to be for patrons only. There's going to be some videos about Chrono Trigger as I play it. I'm going to find out for Ryan whether Ryan's played it or not. I'll ask him and I'll find out whether he's played it or not, because if he's not played it, I might see if he fancies playing it as well. That might be a good thing for us both to have a take. It's been a while since Ryan's played a Japanese RPG, you know. And I think you can't go through life. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on Earth. I don't think I can go through this life, and particularly when I've got it in my collection, it's ridiculous. There's no excuse now. It's time to play. It's time to play Chrono Trigger. So, I'm very sorry to say this, but if you're not a patron, this is a big call out. Sign up, and then you can see some videos about old Chrono Trigger. Which the millennium, a portal is opened, the chain of time is broken, and a young man is transported into the past, altering the course of history and the outcome of the future. This boy's name, by the way, is Chrono. Chrono spelt differently though for the chrono on the front. The Chrono. So there we go. Like and subscribe. Sign up to the Patreonage.
Ryan
really
pees a lot, by the way. I've got a really weak bladder. It's just there's not enough body to hold it on.
I don't know.
Mind ask for subscribers as well.
Okay.
I'll be back for the Patreon content. I'll only be 60 seconds.
Okay, off you go.
Right.
You make me feel like I'm needing the toilet as well. Now there's a problem. Maybe I should come with you actually before we do the 15 minutes. So let's just wrap it up and I'll come to the toilet with you. Like and subscribe. Join the show. Watch this games bit. If you've seen the games bit, if we're back, like and subscribe and Patreon. Get on the Patreon. It's a subscription thing. There's going to be even more content. It's going to be good.
It's 1995 in the next episode. Right, see you later.
Right, we're old, by the way. We're quite old.
Would you please keep the noise down low? Because you're waking lazy, sunbathing.